both, and this is for both of you guys, do you think it's going to change how coaches recruit quarterbacks going forward? Do you think now that are they going to need two guys in each class rather than sometimes now you just have one in a class in order to make sure that you have enough scholarship quarterbacks on your roster in case the guy who is deemed the second string decides to bolt?
Scholarships are very important to the coach and to the program, as far as it's like draft picks, right? So to me, if you think that you get two in and that one might transfer, why would you waste that scholarship on another quarterback instead of getting somebody that you feel like, whether it's an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, somebody in the trenches, somebody that's going to be in a position maybe that rotates in and out? I don't know. I think this situation can actually hurt quarterbacks coming out where they might have signed two a year. They may be saying, look, if we sign two, one of them's going to leave because this generation's coming in where they don't stay, they don't compete instead, and we say this generation, but it's just they have the rights to now. They have the ability to do it with this 4-game where they can still redshirt even if they play. So I would say probably coaches might go back to just one quarterback and say, let's just get the best we can and not worry about it. If we bring two in, we probably might have at least one of those guys transferring even after they played 4 games. Yeah. Or more. We're seeing that. Even Blake Barnett was gone. I mean, once he realized that Jalen was the quarterback, he was out, and he went down to 2, and then went back to 4-year college, and was able to get right back into another school and be playing the next year. So it's been there for a little bit. We've seen it with these quarterbacks, but now it's gotten even a little bit dicier.
And what I agree with that statement, Jay. And what's about to happen is, you're right. They're going to find the best available quarterback, and they're going to use their scholarship on him. But what's about to happen with these universities now that I feel is some of these coaches are about to find a diamond in the rough and some walk-on guys, quarterbacks that are already there, the walk-ons that they can probably develop into a good quarterback. So they sign one, and they have one that's there. That's a walk-on that could turn out to be a diamond in the rough for them. So, because when you have so many scholarship quarterbacks, the guys that come in as walk-ons, sometimes they're not paying close attention to them as they should. And some of these guys that come in as walk-ons are good quarterbacks, but because you have scholarship guys there, they don't receive as much attention as the guys that are on scholarship. So I think this deal is, we're going to sign one solid quarterback, and maybe we already have something here that's a walk-on that we can work with. It could be a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're entering uncharted territory
no
here,
doubt, yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be any other guys who announce before Saturday that they're going to transfer and they're not going to play. And I know people in Alabama are wondering about Jalen, and I would be shocked if he reacts to this and sees, oh well, Kelly Bryant's doing it, maybe I should too. I don't think that's going to happen. What do you guys think?
And Antonio and I have talked about this. The biggest thing about Jalen, it seems that normally you worry about, is there an agent or is there a friend or is there another coach? Is there somebody in his ear? And the other coach that's in his ear is his dad. And he's been in his ear for a long time and has made public some of the stuff that he's felt about how things have been handled at times. And Antonio and I've talked about this before. That's probably surprised me more than just a normal parent. He's a coach. He understands how things happen, how competition works, how guys win jobs and how guys lose jobs. And, we haven't quite heard as much from him as we had before, so maybe this calmed down a little bit. But that's the only person I'd worry about, is whether or not, because of some of the comments his dad has said in the past.
So you think Nick's hiding Jalen's phone from him?
No. That would be hilarious if he did, or even if he kidded about it today or this week in one of his press conferences.
Yeah, what if later on today we come out and Jalen comes out on social media and say, I'm using someone else's phone because I can't find mine in the post.
Oh my gosh. So we dived right into the Kelly Bryant situation because that was the hot story today. It broke this morning. Lars, you broke it to us even before, saying this is possibly going to happen, and then all of a sudden all the news starts going like crazy over the internet about him transferring now immediately, and will then transfer to next year in January. Will start at another school and be able to play. But we did not get Antonio's thoughts about the game this past weekend with Texas A&M. I got to get your take on how the Tide played, and were you surprised just the point differential between the two teams, and also I really thought Mon played great. I thought Texas A&M looked better than they have in the past, and I think that Jimbo's, making, or you can kind of see his fingerprints and the job he's doing so far.
I was at the games, and I think that Jimbo has Texas A&M going in the right direction. And Mon did a great job. I mean, he tried not to force too many things. Early in the game, he did a little pressure, got there, and he made some decisions that he wished he had back. But as far as Texas A&M, I mean, I think Jimbo has them on the right track. Here's the problem. I just don't think it's fair right now that Alabama is as good as they are and they're as dominant as they are. You get to give Jimbo and his team all the credit in the world. They came in and they competed, but Alabama is clicking. It's clicking on a different level than anybody else right now.
Have you ever seen it like this on both sides of the football, where it's just playmakers everywhere and defensively still, being able to, whether it's just plug and play? I mean, 16 guys from this team last year are on NFL rosters. 12 of them are active, 4 on practice squads. How do you replace that and just all of a sudden keep not only at a high level, but maybe playing at the highest level we've seen a Saban team?
And I didn't. I will be the first to say I didn't expect Alabama to click like they are right now. I expected to be some struggles and they win some games on some close calls, but I didn't expect them to be clicking like they are. And I'm ready to take back what I said about the secondary, because the way they're playing, and if you look at stats right now, they're a little ahead of the game than what we expected. So, I mean, just to see both sides clicking like that, I was shocked. But like I said, I'm about ready to take back everything that I've said thus far.
We've talked a little bit about Patrick Surtain Jr., and he had an interception in the game. To me, he looks like the next great one at Alabama. What do you think about Surtain Jr.?
For him to come in, but I expected him to play like that if he was given the opportunity to play as a freshman. I know his dad very well. We played against each other. And, Jay, you probably played against him a little bit in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So I expect him to be fully trained and prepared to step on his next level from high school to college and compete the way that he did and he does right now. And he's doing a good job for what he's being inserted in as a freshman. What's going on, and what I saw Saturday is that these guys are taking it personal. Whatever their job is that they have to do on Saturdays, whatever their responsibility is, they're taking it personal. They're taking it personal during the week of practice, and they're definitely taking it personal into a higher level on Saturdays. And you can see that in the way they're playing, where they're performing, and the way they're competing. So,
what do you mean taking it personal?
I mean, the talk. I'm sure they've heard the talk. I'm sure they've probably heard what I've had to say and other people have had to say about the secondary and losing so many guys and them having to rebuild back there. And now they're taking it all personal and saying, okay, just because we lost Minka and all these guys in the secondary doesn't mean that we have to be down back here or we have to be struggling. We can still be at the top of our game with mentioning those guys, a Thorpe Award winner. So that's why I said they're taking it personal.
It was more of the same from Tua. He was 22 of 30 for 387 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And this is really incredible. For the year, he's led 31 drives. Those drives have resulted in 20 touchdowns and 2 field goals. The average yard per play when Tua is in the game is 9.5. And so we're running out of
pretty good, isn't it?
We're running out of superlatives. We're running out of superlatives pretty quick.
I mean, why can't he get the extra 5.5?
Yeah,
That's the first down every time he touches the ball. Pretty crazy.
I asked you this last week, but I want to ask you again, Antonio. How would you defend this guy?
As a defensive coordinator now, I'm not sure anymore. If every play the man is 9.5 yards, almost every play, how do I call my defensive game? I don't know. I have all this call sheet, what I want to do on first downs, what I want to do on second down, what I want to do on third downs. But every time we line up and they run a play, they are a yard away from having another first down. What do I call? I call all my first down plays all day, coverages, and you start saying, well, you bring pressure. But then if you bring pressure, you find yourself on the first play for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So.
And I tell you, with this team now, used to, I think a lot of teams, even like Texas A&M coming in, felt like, okay, if we can get up 14 points and we can score and now make them get out of their normal game plan of running the football, playing tough football in the trenches, and make them start throwing, then they're getting out of their game plan, getting out of their norm. Now it's the shoe is on the other foot. These teams are having to catch us. And, I don't remember a time except back in 1979 we brought up the other day where they scored, about 170 points in the first 4 games, which was more than this team has, where Alabama teams' offenses are generating that type of numbers and that type of pressure on defenses and on teams to where now they're having to say, okay, we now got to start throwing the ball like crazy just to catch up and hopefully get some touchdowns.